I'm back, everyone. Your old Uncle Padrino with another new movie review. So, let's get started. Blue Beetle. I'm going to tell you everything that I know about him. And by the way, without Googling, I do know all that I know. I do know from my own, experiences with the character. Okay, so there are three Blue Beetles. The first one, I don't know who he is, and I never knew who he was because he was. I never really dug into him and found out about him. Okay, the second Blue Beetle that I know is Ted Cord. I should say, sorry. I said corn. Cord. Okay. That's the one that I grew up knowing about because when I started reading comic books way back when, I'm giving my age here because, hey, look at here. Not that this is giving it away, not giving it away, but, he's the one that I knew about. Now, he was an inventor and he fought crime using the inventions that he created. Okay. But he did die. I don't know how, and I don't even think I ever really found out how he exactly died, but he died, and he still to this day is still dead. Unlike most, he's one of the very few superhero comic book characters that has remained dead. Somehow in some form or fashion. They all managed to bring them back to life in some form or fashion. Okay, now the third Blue Beetle, Jaime, he's a different character all on his own. Jaime Reyes, and he is infused with alien tech, a scarab, that is which is sort of like a symbiotic relationship, much just like how the alien symbiote was when Spider-Man Peter Parker found the symbiote during the first Secret Wars, and he became the black suit Spider-Man after a while, and then it fueled his anger and made him do things that he didn't really want to do. So it latched on to to Eddie Brock, who we eventually know becomes Venom. And then, so was Flash Thompson. He was Agent Venom. The symbiote has made its way around, I guess. And I think it's come back to Eddie Brock now in the comics, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, but that's what the scarab is. It's an alien device. It's alien tech that bonds to its host, and whatever the host can think of, it can create, and it can and will protect the host, because of course if the host is dead, then it's useless. Okay, or it dies. So anyway, Jaime found the scarab, and it chose him and latched onto him, and so he became the Blue Beetle that we know and that this movie is based off of. Okay, now Jaime has gone out of the comic book world before. Over time now. So if I'm not mistaken, he came out. I think in early 2000. That's the earliest time that I think I can remember seeing him. So he may have come out in the early 2000s. But since then, he's been out of the comic book world. He's been in animation in Batman Brave and the Bold, and in Injustice, and in several DC direct-to-DVD animated movies. He's also been in video games. He's a playable character in the fighting game Injustice 2, not TOO, but TWO, sequel 2. So he's had exposure. People have been exposed to him out before the movie and outside of the comic books. Now, as to how popular he is, how well liked he is, that I don't know. Like I said, I don't really know very much about him outside of those few things. And I really didn't take an interest in him, and even with Ted Cord, I didn't really take that much of an interest in him either. I read some stories with him in it because he just happened to be in it, or he happened to be a part of the Justice League in one story or something like that. That's how I know about him. So, all that I know without Googling, okay? So, let's talk about this movie, all right? Give a little Cliff Notes version of the story as far as this movie goes. Jaime comes back home from graduating from college. He comes back to his town, which, if I'm not mistaken, I could have sworn he was from El Paso, Texas, if I'm not mistaken. Now, that could be wrong. I don't know. But they did change it in this movie. He's from another city or something like that. I don't know where it is, but that probably could have happened in the comics too. I don't know. So, but anyway, he comes back home, he meets up with his family, and he goes back to his hood, and he realizes that things are, some things have remained the same, but some things have gotten worse. He notices that his city, it has changed as well, and his family has fallen on hard times and whatnot. So he goes out and gets a job, and as you saw in the trailers and in the commercials, a young woman hands him a box with the scarab in it and tells him not to open it, but he opens it anyway. And guess what? The scarab, chooses him and infuses itself into him, and insanity and action adventure and even a little hilarity ensues. Okay, that's basically the gist of the whole story. All right. Now, let's go with the positives. Start with the positives, rather. Okay? One, this is a small thing, but it's still pretty cool. You have some Easter eggs in this, of course. You see a tower with LexCorp on it, which is Lex Luthor's building. Not Luthor, Luthor. That's how it's pronounced. So, you see one of his buildings in the city. They do mention, show, the first two Blue Beetles outfits and things like that in tech and as well. They also mention the Flash and Central City. They mention Superman, and of course Batman is a fascist, so he brings up Batman as well. There's a sweatsuit, a sweatshirt with Gotham on it, things like that. And I don't know how to bring this up without spoiling it, but there is an element to the movie where that comes from the comics as well. That's part of the plot as well. Okay, so the second thing, Solo, not that Solo, but this Solo, Solo from Cobra Kai, from the series Cobra Kai, great actor. I mean, he plays a very likable character in this. He's great. He shows that he can carry a series. And now he shows that he can carry a movie. He can lead a movie and carry the movie on his back. He's great in this. He plays a very, very likable character. You can't help but cheer for him a lot of the times. Okay, so and to bring it up, the other actors are good too. The other actors are great. I really like them. The rest of his family. I mean, and some of the villains. I mean, they are actually very good in this. I mean, I don't think there's anyone with any, that phones in a performance or anything like that. But for the most part, I mean, I was really impressed with a lot of the actors in this as well. And the next thing is there are some touching moments in this movie. Okay. Not that it'll make you cry or anything like that, but it will hit you in the heart muscles a little bit. You won't get too emotional about it, but I was sitting in a packed theater and I didn't hear any sniffling or anything like that. So, but there are some touching moments in this movie as well, which is excellent. Okay. The other thing that I have to mention, I think this will probably be the last thing that I mention as far as the positives go. The element of family in this movie. I really, really enjoyed that part of the movie, okay? The fact that and look, and I've been saying this talking about this in past reviews for a long time now. Bring fathers back into the movies. Don't just bring men in it that are stupid, that are idiots, that are mean or insane or evil or anything like that. Bring back good men into these movies. And despite how everyone grew up, whether their father was involved in their lives or not, bring back good fathers into and that's what helped this movie as far as the family element goes. He was the anchor in this movie. He was the rock in this movie, not the rock, Dwayne the Rock Johnson, but he was the strongest figure in this movie. He held the family together. He had a great wife. He worked himself to death so he could, provide for his kids and his family and make sure that his kids had a better life than he did. it was so refreshing to see that, and I think that's why that's the one of the best positives about this movie. It was just a family. I mean, and he would go, look. He would say something. He would say, "Look, we can get through this. We'll figure it out." I mean, he was always positive in everything, and I love that about that family and about this movie. Okay, so that's a major positive for me for this movie. All right, now let's get started with the negatives. Okay, um, wow. There is with this movie. I'll just say it. All right, this movie is biting off of the first Iron Man movie and the first Black Panther movie. Let's just call it what it is. All right, let's be honest. I mean, there are times in this movie when I go, "That's Iron Man." They stole that from. Like, that's Black Panther. I'm sorry. That it is obvious. And look. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, as the saying goes. If you're gonna take from someone, you take from the best. I get it. So, but you can't help but recognize it. You can't help but see it. It's like, dude, come on, really? You just basically just did, basically just ripped that off, basically from that. And I mean, there's even one scene in this where when I watched it, it's like, that literally just came from the Flash movie from a couple of months ago. I mean, look at the poster. It's a movie poster. It's almost just like the first Iron Man poster. It really is when you think about it. So, I mean, it's really hard not to ignore that aspect of this movie. Okay. This another thing. There are parts in this movie where you go, "Oh my God!" I mean, and well, there are two elements into this movie where you go, "Oh my God!" and but I'll save that for a little bit. The other part for a little bit later. But the first part is just like, okay, that was stupid. Mexicans wouldn't do or say something like that. And then there are parts where I go, well, that Mexicans would do and say something like that. Even though it was still kind of stupid, they would still do or say something like that. And look, you can say, "I'm being racist" all you want to. No, I'm not. You know why? Because I have many friends who are of Mexican descent, and I've known for an extremely long time. And when you've known each other for that long, you eventually become a part of their family. So I can say that, and they will understand that as well and go, "Dang," and start cracking up. So yeah, I can say that. So don't come at me with this, you're going to say that you're racist or you're being, no, I can say that. Okay. But that's one part. That's one part. I was like, oh my God, that's one thing where I was rolling in the back of where I was kind of like, okay, I was kind of rolling my eyes. That was just plain stupid. Okay. Let me go back one step, okay, to the ripping off part. Let me put this in words because I just thought of this. Let me put this in words that anyone and everyone can understand, no matter their race or gender or anything like that. This movie is kind of like going to La Pulga, the Mexican flea market, basically. So, and buying knockoff products, buying knockoff things for cheap, basically. And I've seen it, all right? And y'all know it too, and it's the truth. I've been across the border, number one, and I've also gone deeper into Mexico as well. I've only been to Mexico twice. Those were the only 2 times in my life. And I've seen it. Everyone is selling knockoffs. Everyone's selling bootleg and things like that. Now, for my people, you know it. You know there's that one homeboy. You have that one homeboy, that one person that you know that you can get bootleg DVDs off of. Now they don't have that anymore, but you can get bootleg clothes, bootleg purses, bootleg shoes. You can get now. I'm sure broken fire sticks and Roku sticks and things like that. You all have that. Don't laugh. Y'all all know that to be true. Both black people and Mexicans, y'all all know that. And maybe even several other races of people know that as well. So don't laugh. I see you laughing. No, don't laugh. That ain't funny. That is the truth. Okay, that's what this movie is to an extent. All right, now let me jump back to the negative part of it. The CGI effects in this movie. In all honesty, they're okay. They're actually pretty decent. Not, but you can tell. The CGI special effects determine how big a budget of a movie is a lot of the times. And you can often tell by that, okay? So, and look, don't get me wrong, even in Black Panther, the first Black Panther movie, the CGI special effects weren't very good, even during the day. Because see, here's the thing. When a scene is CG effects heavy, a lot of times they can only do so much, all right? So when do you, but the thing is, you can cheat those special effects, those CG effects in dark times, in dark areas. So what do? You tend to film the action sequences when? At night, okay? So you can cheat the CG effects. Now, with the first Black Panther movie, now some of the action sequences did take place during the day, and everybody could tell that, yeah, it was kind of, So, and it's kind of the same thing here. Not nearly as bad, but it's there. But you can tell, okay, yeah, that was filmed at night because this is what's going to happen, and this is why, because the CG effects were not going to be up to par. All right, so that's one negative. I mean, it's probably a nitpick, but it's, kind of a little bit of a negative for me anyway. So, the other part, another negative is, which I kind of pointed out a little bit earlier, is that there are times it's like, okay, that was stupid. But I'm going to go into part 2 of that, which is there are times in this movie when it's just like, oh my God, the messaging in it. And it's like, oh my God, I rolled my eyes into the back of, I saw my brain, and I probably saw the wall of the theater or the ceiling of the theater more than I probably did the movie screen itself, because I rolled my eyes so much. And it's just like, oh my God, white people this, white people that, racist. And there are times when when some of the white characters are obviously racist. And it's just like, dang, blatantly racist. And you go, okay, I already know where this is going. And so, we swim across the border. We cross the border. Nobody's not going to hire a Mexican, blah, 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 yada, 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 and all that sort of stuff. And it's just like, oh my God, okay, cool. Look, I'm tired of the messaging now at this point. And look, here's the thing. The messaging didn't overtake the story to that much to where the story suffered, but it did make the movie suffer a little bit because of the fact that it was constantly, it's like Mexican. Look, we get it. You're Mexican. We get it. Mexican. Get it. Mexican. Over here, over there, everywhere. Okay, I get it. We get it. But it was just something that just kept getting brought up and whatnot. And even one of the scenes, grandma is carrying a Gatling gun and firing it, and it's just like, okay, I already know where this is going to head, and sure enough, it did head in that particular direction. Okay, so for me, that is a bit of a complaint. All right, again, as far as this movie goes, it's a mixed bag, okay? Again, the family element is there, and it's the strongest part about it, and that's what I love the most about it, actually. Again, mother, father, younger sibling, your little sister who's annoying. I guess she's annoying to me. Maybe it's because I'm old, or maybe it's because, I'm the younger sibling and I didn't grow up with younger siblings, but she was still cool by the end of the movie anyway. You had Grandma, and of course, Mr. Batman is fascist, type of, character, George Lopez, but the crazy eccentric uncle, conspiracy theorist uncle. So I mean, and everybody has that uncle, so I mean, it's understandable. I wasn't upset about all of that. So, but as far as it goes, it really is a mixed bag, and it's really hard to really decide on how to rank this movie. I would say, if you really, really have to watch this movie, save some money and keep it at a matinee level. Don't go any further than that. Matinee. Now, would I personally watch this movie again? Probably so. But I would watch it if somebody else is watching it, like it's on TV or something like that, and somebody else is watching, like, oh yeah, I'll check it out. Why not? But if you really want to watch it, you go, oh my God, I gotta see, is it really as bad as everyone says it is? Or you may not even think it is as bad, or you may think it is as bad. Who knows? But if you're curious, I keep it at a matinee level. Don't go any further than that, okay? Otherwise, just kind of wait until it comes out on streaming, or wait until somebody else is watching it, like I said, and just like, oh yeah, I remember that movie. I'll check it out. It's all right. Okay. All right. So that's how I look at this movie. Now, I'm gonna go on a little bit of a rant now in this case. Now, if you want to turn it off, good, go ahead, turn it off and move on, or skip to the next chapter after my rant. Okay, so I'm gonna give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right, here we go. This movie, and I'm not going to spoil anything about this movie, but I do have to complain about something about this movie. There are things about this movie that I just, the situations with this movie, I should say. I think because I went into this movie, the director was going out and saying stupid crap, okay? Just playing complete, and look, we need to get to a point where people who are promoting this movie, whether it's the producer, the directors, or the actors, they need to learn to shut up. They just absolutely need to learn how to shut up, because in the end of the day, it ruins the product, and it ruins it for a lot of people, and it's going to hurt the product in the end financially. Okay. Remember when actors would go on late night talk shows? What would they do? They would talk about why they decided to take the role in this movie. What was it like working with these actors? What was it like working with these directors? And they show a clip, they make a few jokes, ha-ha-ha's here and there, and then end. That's it. They wouldn't really bring up too much political and social issues, okay? But these people now, this director is out there going, oh my God, if you don't watch this movie, no, it's not the director, but I'm sorry, let me go back. The director did say, people need to go out and watch this movie so we can have more Latin representation, okay? Fine, understandable, but you're going to turn people off about this. There's an article, I don't know if it was Hollywood Reporter or Variety, that said, if you don't watch this movie, you're going to hurt the Latino community. I'm like, what? Really? I mean, this is getting dumb now. And this is why I have to rant about this. Okay. You don't have to go watch a movie if you don't want to. If you want to watch a movie, watch it because you want to, not because everybody else says that you have to watch it. Okay. I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story about myself, all right? And this is actually very true, okay? Growing up, my mind was I only watched material that only had to do with my obsessions, my passions, my possessions, basically, okay? It had to be animated, had to be Muppet related, had to be comic book related, or it had to be video game related. That's the only time that I watched it. Now, I did watch other things outside of it, but there was 9 times out of 10, it was usually because everybody else was watching it, or if it was very heavily comedy driven, like the Police Academy movies, okay? So, but as I got older, I started venturing out more. I mean, I still watched the stuff that I was heavily into, but I began to watch and watch more things, okay? So, of course, I watched the black movies, and I watched the black shows, and I watched anything that had a black cast, an all-black cast, the main actor was black, you know. And so for me, you know, and I would come back and go, oh man, you know, that was good and yada 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 and all that sort of stuff, you know, supporting it and backing it up and telling people, yeah, watch it, yeah, you need to watch it and all that sort of stuff. As I got older, and it was like, I want to say maybe around shortly after I graduated from college, because I started making my own money then, and then I started building up my movie collection, and then I started going, okay, I gotta have this movie because I loved it when I was younger. I gotta have this movie. I gotta have this movie. Blah 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 blah. And then I started going, wait a minute, did I really like this movie? Did I like this movie because it was actually good? Or did I like it simply because it had black people in it, or it had the main lead was a black actor? And it really changed my perspective on things. And that's when I really had to go, yeah, that's not cool what I was doing. I wasn't being honest with myself or with anyone else. So I say the same thing about this situation here. Look, it's great. If you want more representation, if you want that, you know, want to see more, yes, go watch this movie and support it. I completely agree with this. If you want to go where females are the main actors or main protagonists, if you want to watch a movie where someone of the LGBTQIA plus community is the main actor or main character or made up the entire cast, excellent. You should do that. Do it. But at the same time, be honest about it, okay? Don't go in there, don't come out and say, well, this was a great movie just simply because it was you. Be honest about that stuff, because just because they make another movie with a Latin character, with a Latin superhero in it, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be good. In this case, it's kind of a mixed bag. Like I said, you heard my verdict on it. So for me, that's where I have to draw a line. And look, you don't have to listen to me. I'm not telling you not to watch the movie. I'm not telling you to watch the movie. I'm telling you what I would do and how I would watch it. Okay. I am not at all telling you what to do. You do what you want to do. I'm just simply making a suggestion and giving you my opinion. You go from here on out. Doesn't mean that you're a racist. Doesn't mean you're stupid. Doesn't mean you're this, that, or the other. You made the choice, and you can come back and tell me what you thought about it. And, you know, if you regret it, well, fine. If you didn't, that's fine too. All right. So for me, I think that's one of the things that we really, really have to get over on as far as this goes. Stop supporting these people and stop watching this stuff just because. Watch it because you actually have a genuine interest in it. If we keep preaching about Martin Luther King Jr. and his "I Have a Dream" speech and judging people on the content of the character and not the color of their skin, we are doing the exact reverse of that by doing this. Watch it if you want to watch it. And look, I know a lot of people used to say to me, and probably still will say about me, is, you know, anything with Batman in it, you'll love it and you'll watch it. No, I won't. There are some Batman stuff that I did not like, that I simply did not like at all. A lot of people will say the same thing about cartoon animation. You know, if it's animated, Andre will like it. No, I won't. There are some animated movies and some animated TV shows I despise. Okay? So, I mean, just because you're this or you're interested in this, or because it's just that, whatever it is, be honest about it. At the end of the day, be honest about it. Okay? That's all I'm saying. All right? So, I think that's about it as far as I'm concerned. So, Stan Lee's not here again. I think he's busy with something. So, I guess, let me see if I can come up with something. Okay, that's it. Okay. If it looks like rotten blue cheese, it must be spoiled. Tune in next time. Excelsior!
Greetings, you boobs. There is one thing that is more blue than a Blue Beetle. Me!
Whoa! What do you think you're doing? This is a family-friendly channel.
I'm going to get this video and this channel flagged for inappropriate material by streaking across the screen in all my naked glory, and no one will stop me.
Do you like the movie that we reviewed? Do you agree or disagree with our review? Place a comment down in the comment section below. Hit the bell to subscribe and make sure you hit the like button.
Nudity!